everyone, thank you for being here. Today we are talking about values, beliefs, and the idea of freedom that we all truly have. We're going to go into every single one of these. I'm going to have worksheets down below, and some of my own definitions will be shared for all of these. And I hope that you can start 2026 with this belief in yourself that you can change, because you are empowered with what you have done so far, and that you're showing up not to judge yourself, but to figure out where you want to go, because you know where you are starting. And this is the I Choose Me journey. You can grab one of these journals down below on Amazon, and you can start showing up for you today. And you don't need this journal or any of these other things, but all of it will be an act of love for yourself and an act of joy in creating this brand new life. So back in December, I released all of these PDFs that I will share again down below with all of you, and I said that I was getting them all printed at Staples, and I just did the same cover as the journal, and then I just got them all printed and bound together because I wanted to make it easier for myself to carry around. And you can't buy this specific workbook, but you can get all the sheets down below and create your own at Staples if you want. And stick around, maybe at the end of the year we will have a workbook that encompasses everything that we've done in 2026. That is one of my goals at the end of the year, to wrap everything up. But for now, this is what we have, and it is a reminder of how much there is to learn about ourselves and how much work you can do just on your own. So all of these sheets are down below, and I've gone through and I've highlighted things, I've written in it, and I've spent time with myself figuring out what my freedoms actually are. Now, there isn't a whole lot of space in there, so I got this really pretty notebook. It's blank because I don't like lines. They feel very restrictive to me, which is, you can probably see this whole freedom thing coming back up over and over again. And I actually started off with creating an entire sticker page of my why, which kind of feels like a little vision board of just this beautiful reminder to me, from me, to say, hey, you're doing awesome. You're doing great, because these are the things that you're working towards. And every single time I put pen to paper, it is me proving to myself that I am worth it. So what is the first thing that I did is I looked into the 5 freedoms. I went through and I wrote out my own definitions. I highlighted things that I really enjoyed, that I really liked, and then I wrote it out in this notebook, because the repetition of writing things really does help you solidify what it is that you are doing and what it means to you. And I've spent years with thinking about the 5 freedoms, so if this concept is new to you, this is like a really great way to jump in and get acquainted with it, because at the end of the day, it's your freedom that you have to define. And at the outskirts, freedom is not something that is given, it's something that is taken through every decision and handed away through every choice that you make that is not in the service of your greatest self. So if you want to take your freedom back, understanding what freedom even means to you is a really important part. And it was a combination of looking at this. I have definitions or a brief little intro for each of the freedoms in here, the importance of being selfish, which you can also get down below. And there is a list, a playlist of 10 videos where I've talked about each of the freedoms twice, down below as well. So there's a lot of places where you can look at these freedoms, and you may already be well on your way to having good definitions, and this will just kind of give you a clear outline for each one of these and help you build on these goals that you want to have. Because if you know where you're starting from, you know where you can go and what you need to do to get there. So figuring out your goals is a lot easier once you know what it is that you believe that you're doing and what it's for. So in the I Choose Me January, the first 2 weeks are dedicated to figuring out 10 goals, 2 for each of the freedoms that you're going to focus on, and really go back to every single week and month. Every single month following the first 2 weeks, is going to refer back to these goals. So spend time thinking about them, spend time with the definitions, spend time exactly knowing where you are and where you want to go, because these are goals that we are going to rewrite over and over again so that we are aware that every time we are making a decision, is it actually getting us closer to this goal? And if it's not, you're going to start asking yourself, well, why am I showing up for this? Why do I care what these people think when what I think about me matters more than anyone else? Because I spend hours a week thinking about myself. I actually have 5 days in a week, so I have even more weeks where I'm thinking about me. When you start showing up for yourself, everyone who doesn't show up for you suddenly becomes a lot less interesting. Their words about you don't actually hit as hard. Them saying you're not a good friend or not a good employee doesn't hit as hard because you know how to show up and you know what it means to be consistent and to be organized and to be willing to do the hard stuff. So when somebody at work is trying to come at you, trying to undermine the value that you're giving to the company, you know who you are, your core sense of self, and all these people who are going to try and come and shake the foundation won't be able to do so because your foundation isn't built on mud or sand. It's built on clear decision making that's brought you here. It's built on concrete that is not going to be disturbed by the wind or by the rain. It's going to stand strong in the middle of any of this weather. So you are going to have to build this foundation through making these decisions, to show up for yourself, to print out your worth in these, and to spend the time thinking about it. As everybody is super excited about the holidays and wrapping all these gifts, I was doing that as well, but I was also choosing to spend time with myself and say, this is what this means to me. Financial freedom means I am in charge of my own time and my own schedule. And how am I getting there? I want to know, and I want to put in the effort to get there. So figuring out these definitions really helped me solidify who I want to be and who I want to show up as. And it really did this undermining of all the behavior towards me that I didn't like. It made it very clear what I wanted and what I didn't want. And if that's the only thing that doing these worksheets could do for me, it's probably the greatest thing that could have ever happened, because for years I've realized how easily people can leave your life and how quickly situations can change, and that the trust in me really has to be there to fall back on no matter what happens, no matter if a job wants you there anymore, if a friend wants you in your life or not, if living somewhere works out or not. You have to trust in yourself that you have the capability, the capacity, and the motivation to get yourself into a better situation. There's been many times in these past few years, my entire life, that people have told me I couldn't do it and it won't happen, or I'm just not good enough or smart enough, or I'm too much of a girl, or whatever people wanted to say to me. But I decided that I was worth more and that I was going to show up no matter what it was that they were saying or not saying about me. That my freedom in myself is going to overcome nothing other than myself. I'm going to overcome me to get to the best me. I'm not going to let anyone else stand in my way. I'm going to show up no matter what happens. And that was a really important thing. And doing this really solidified that, because I was like, oh my God, this is my life. No one else has to deal with any of the consequences. No one else has to show up in my shoes every single day except for me. I have to deal with my consequences, with my decisions, and I am the only one who has to do anything about it. So letting anyone else have a say and influence is not helping me. So your freedom is found in you deciding what's right for you, and deciding that what other people say doesn't actually matter as much, because they're not paying your bills and they're not building your future. They are in your life because you allow them to be there, and everyone needs to prove to you why they're there. And if they can't, then their place in your life needs to come into question, and you need to reduce the time that they're there and the allowance of them being in your life as much as they have been. This is not an easy decision, but after everything I've been through, I've come to the terms that Not everything is meant to stay in your life, and especially not the things that aren't helping you. If they are eroding you, if talking to this person, if being in this place isn't helping you grow, it's stifling you, you have this anxiety, you don't feel well, don't be there anymore. Stop letting all of these people tell you what is and isn't going to happen in your life. They don't have any better idea at how to live this life because we're all living it for the first time. You only get so much time. So stop letting everyone else take control of your time. And this is the conversation I've had to have with myself over and over again. In December, I wanted to get a really nice gift for someone, and then I had a conversation with them and they had this long tirade of how much they hate Christmas. And I went that night to return that gift that I was going to give them because I was tired of it. I was like, I am not spending a single second thinking about people if they're not even going to appreciate it. And at the end of the day, these people that I'm specifically talking about, they didn't want any of these things. They didn't want the gifts. They didn't want any of it. They just wanted somebody to be there with them. So I was like, you know what? You're right. My gift is my presence. I will be there with you and we'll hang out, and that's it. I'm not going to spend any more money or time on this. And this is the approach that I've decided to take with pretty much everyone. I spent a lot of time creating elaborate gifts that I'm going to think twice about doing again, because if the appreciation is not there and the joy in me doing it disappears, then there's no more point in spending time doing that. And that is just for gifts. Take that same belief into everything in your life that you're doing. If your job is not appreciating all the extra hours that you are doing, stop doing it. Stop giving what is not being appreciated. The more you give of something that somebody doesn't want, they're not going to want it more. So take your power back. Take your freedom back by freeing up all this time and bandwidth that you keep handing to everyone else. They don't deserve it. The majority of people that you're doing all of this little stuff for, that you're creating this elaborate moments for, don't deserve it. And the people who do deserve it, they're also doing it for you. They're creating beautiful experiences for you. They're showing up for you. They're excited to be there, and you won't feel this anxiety, this like, oh, they didn't even say thank you. They didn't react the way that I wanted them to. And usually when somebody doesn't react the way you want to, you knew that they weren't. You knew that this person wasn't really going to care about it, because every other time you've done it, they didn't either. And I personally had felt that way with this person and with other people. They didn't really care when I did it before, so why was I going out of my way to do it again? I'm happy that I returned it, and I hope that next year I don't even get to a point where I think about getting any of these people a gift who don't deserve it. Figure out who deserves your time and who doesn't, and your freedom is going to be all those hours that you get back for not spending it on time for people who don't want it. Take your time back. That is what I've learned in this past holiday season. Everyone wants something from you, and they can get it if you decide that it's worth your time. But decide that you're worth your time way more. So stop doing the elaborate stuff for everyone who doesn't deserve it, who doesn't care. Clearly, I was very emotional about it, and I had every right to be. But I don't want to be in that place. I don't want to continue that. And I want next holiday season to be joyous, because everything I'm doing is for me and creating beautiful experiences for the people who deserve it, and not for all these other people who have blatantly told me that they don't care about the time that I spend doing things for them or with them. Those people no longer get a say. So your freedom is what you're working towards, and evaluate where your time is being spent now. And if you're giving more time to things than they deserve, then you are handing your freedom away to people who don't want it. So it's up to you to decide to not do that. Second thing I did was I dived into my values. I personally have 5 specific values that I have decided upon, have reflected on for many years, and I finally wrote them down back in June of 25, and they are beauty, authenticity, creativity, curiosity, and freedom. It is those 5 that I have constantly gone back to in one way or another. And beauty was actually the one that I figured out after somebody opened up about saying that they valued beauty and then they didn't realize that they were holding themselves back by not saying it. And I realized that I was too, because I love all the pretty little things. I love the notebooks and creating special experiences and wearing beautiful clothes and having the fun. So I realized that I do love beautiful things, and that it is something that I value, and not in just how things look, but how they make you feel. Make you feel excited, warm, peaceful, and joyous. So that was one of the big values for me, and I sat down and I went through and I wrote out what each of the values are, and I spent some time with those questions just figuring it out, and then at the end I wrote out which value was associated with each freedom, and I was able to split all 5 of my values into one of each of the freedoms. Now, if you are to go through that value sheet, there is hundreds of values that you can go through for each. There's values for each of them, and you can pick out which ones you like, which ones you don't, can all just leave to the side. So whatever values you have, they're yours to uphold, and there's nothing wrong with any of them. They're all, if you read through the values, they're all valuable. They're all important, but what you want to focus on will slightly adjust which values you have, and it's okay. They're all important. They are all things that we can take from and change over time, but who you are at the core of you is probably not going to change, and what's going to excite you the most is living out those values in everything that you do. For me, curiosity matters far more than being a complete master in one subject. So those are just a few of the differences. Freedom to me with finances is not about having luxury items, it's about having a freedom of time. So there is no one way that is right or wrong. These are all just nuances that you get to describe about yourself, but you can't do that unless you spend the time thinking about it. So really sit with the values questions, and they're very simple because they're like, do you like this or that? And it's really nice to have it displayed in front of you, and you literally just write out which ones you like. And even spending 5 minutes doing this, just writing out the ones that resonate with you more, will help you figure out what it is that you want more. And that will make your goals a lot easier to do, because you're like, oh, I actually value curiosity more, so maybe I want to spend time learning all sorts of subjects instead of spending, 12 months going really deep into one. And that's super valuable for me to know, which is why I have 24 books and 24 masterclasses that I want to do, because I'm so excited to learn from the masters who have spent their entire life focused on one thing, and I want to see what I can learn from them. So sitting down and watching James Cameron's filmmaking review, or listening to Serena Williams talk about tennis, like, I don't necessarily create films or play tennis, but I'm sure there's things that they've learned that I could also pull into my life, and I think that's more fun for me than, becoming like a master guitar player. So these are just ways for you to learn about yourself. So that is why all these values questions are super easy. There's not a whole lot of thinking that you have to do. The freedom questions are going to take you a little bit more time, but those are super important too, and they're super valuable. It's been a great learning experience for me, so I hope you spend some time with them. And the third thing that you can go really figure out who you are at the core is your beliefs. Your beliefs drive everything that you do, whether you're aware of it or not, because your beliefs are what you hold to be true for yourself in the world. And if those things are true, then your experiences, your actions, your decisions all stem from those beliefs. And if your beliefs are limiting you, if they're holding you back, if these are beliefs that you've held your entire life and they've only gotten you this far, they're only going to continue to take you this far. They're not going to magically transform you unless you transform your beliefs, which is why I have the core belief cycle. I got it printed in black and white, so it's not as pretty of the colors as you'll see in the PDF, but that's okay. and it goes into all of the beliefs and what they lead into, from belief all the way to experience and everything that happens in between. And what I did was I took a highlighter and I highlighted which side, the old or the new, that I feel like I fell into today. And I'm really excited to do this evaluation again at the end of the year, where hopefully I will be far more into the new beliefs, the better beliefs, the beliefs that we want to have at the end of the year. But we will see how far I come along. But it was really eye-opening for me to see how much I still fell on the left side, even though I feel like I've done a lot of work on myself. And trying to dismantle past beliefs and past decisions and past actions. But I'm still in a place where I'm learning all the time, and that's why curiosity, being one of my values, is super helpful in this category, because I want to learn about myself and the world and how to just live a better life and examine it and witness it and bear an amazing life at the end of it, because I've spent the time trying to make it so. And this will really help you figure it out. And then at the end, there is all of the same questions, except it's blank. So now you can go in and fill in your own beliefs and your actions and your thoughts that correspond to those that maybe weren't hit on by all of the ones that I've said in the beginning. So you might have your own beliefs or thoughts that correlate to mental freedom that I didn't write out. So this is your chance to now fill it in and say, okay, well, if I think that other people's validation is important, what do I want to be thinking? You know, maybe you do have thoughts today about mental freedom that you like, that you want to go deeper into. So this is your chance to say, okay, this is a belief that I want to shift, or this is a belief that I want to go deeper with. And it's a really good space because I have 10 rows for each of them, so you can fill all of them out or not. There is a lot. So there's so many resources for you to just dive into it. And I was really surprised that for all of them, I was mostly on the left side. So there's a lot of work to be done. I am starting off right here with you. So there's always work to be done. We are always developing as people and changing, and my life looks completely different than it did 5 years ago, and I hope 5 years from now I can't even recognize the person I am today. That is the goal for me in this life, is to continue to grow and to beautify it and to make it amazing. And I'm so glad you're here with me on this journey, choosing you, showing up for you, letting go of these expectations that other people have foisted upon you, or you have just taken upon yourself. That's where I'm guilty as well, of just saying, you know what, nobody asked this of me. I willingly showed up to do this, so I'm willingly showing up to no longer do this, because it's my choice at the end of the day. No one can make you do anything in this world, but whatever you do end up doing, I hope you do it with the love and belief in yourself that you've always had within you, that you're finally unleashing because you're choosing yourself this year, right? You're choosing you. You're choosing every single second to show up intentionally for the person you've always wanted to be. It's possible. It's happening. And we're going to continue this for so long, for this entire year. I'm so happy that you're here, and I can't wait to hear how your life is changing along the way. It's going to be a big year. I hope you have an amazing week, and I'll see you very soon.